Hey, Doug Upstone here for Doc's Sports Triple Play Baseball Show, and we're back. We missed last week because somebody was on vacation. Oh, that's right, that was me. Can't blame Griffin on this one, but hey, here's Griffin Murphy, okay, and Griffin's ready to go, and he's been just doing super across all sports of late, so he's been on a real run. He'll give you that rundown. Absolutely. Griffin, how are you? How are things going?
Everything's going great right now, Doug. You know, I traveled around the world a little bit, had to go from Vegas to Colorado to go drop some stuff off, drive back from Colorado, then flew out of Vegas last night to Chicago, where I'm currently at right now. So it has been a cluster, man. It's been chaos, but we are still dominating across all sports. We're still completely dialed in, focused, and ready to go. So everything is going great, my man. How are you?
Excellent. Hey, so what? How was your? I forget exactly what your record was the last time we talked, but I think you won 2 out of 3 last time. But just let everybody know how you did.
Yeah. So going last week, I did go 2-1. I had the Padres on the money line over the Diamondbacks. That was a victory. I had a game prop Murphy between the Mariners and the Royals. That got destroyed. I lost, so I did lose that one. I had a plus 290 series prediction, Rockies versus Cardinals. That ended up pushing. It was a 2-2 split. Okay. So we pushed that one. And then I had a best bet winner on the Padres money line over the D-backs. So we did go 2-1-1 to end the week. Consider it 2-1, however you want to look at it. So yes, a winning weekend is always a winning weekend in my eyes, Doug. How about yourself? How'd you do over there?
I went 2-1 myself, and actually had to go look it up. I mean, you wouldn't think like in 2 weeks you'd forget completely, but it's like, let's see here. Now, did I win that or not? Okay. But I had to get it all figured out. So yeah, so 4-2 the last couple of weeks. So like to, bump it up one, okay? Get a sweep, okay, on this one. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I know that's exactly what you're trying to do too. So for those that are new to a couple different things is I would like a lot of people have got a lot of positive reviews, okay, on this show. And so if you like the show, hit the like button. Okay, we appreciate that. That doesn't cost you anything. Nothing's going to come of it at that point. But no, so hit the like button. And another thing too, if between Griffin and myself and any of the cappers at Docs, you can sign up and get $60 worth of free plays. Okay, so keep that in mind too. All you got to do is either on Griffin or Bai's page, up in the upper left-hand corner, there's a red rectangular box. Click on that. The information will take you no time at all to fill out. And then you can get $6 for the free plays. And so you can maybe correlate what we're about to give you with some other stuff this upcoming weekend. So let's just see if we can nail this all down. So, all right. So we're back. And so in our previous 6 shows, we went through all 30 teams. Okay. 5 teams, 5 teams a week, 6 divisions. So we're going to start the process again, okay, is what we're going to do. And we're going to start with the American League Eastern Division, okay, which is loaded. And it's even got some teams that have come up kind of from the dead, in fact, to really get rolling. So I'm going to start things off, and I'm going to talk about that exact team, the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Griffin, this is a tough team to figure out, man, on the season. We're almost at the halfway point. They look awful, okay? They look like they should be in last place in the division, and all of a sudden they just turn on a dime. And now, I mean, the way they're playing right now, they look like a definite wild card team. Okay, sure. I mean, they're just playing fantastic. They had some tough series recently. Faced Philadelphia and the Yankees, swept them. Won them both. And then earlier this week, they went north of the border and they swept Toronto. Now, I'm not saying Toronto's a good team, but still, you go on the road and you sweep somebody, that's always a pretty good sign there. They have been really swinging the lumber, man. I think in their last 8 games, they've scored 6.6 runs per game, hitting the ball hard. So that's really helped out their pitchers, because this is the underrated aspect of this team is pitching, is that in ERA, they are number 6th in both starters and relievers. Those individually, they're number 5 each. They're number 6 in WHIP as a team. And for those fans that are of those of WAR, okay, they're number 2 in WAR in Major League Baseball. So that's super impressive. Offense, it tends to, what it reminds me of, because I've been through there, the western part of Massachusetts. up and down.
Yeah.
A lot of that. So that's what it reminds me of. But they're still a solid number 9 in runs scored. They won 8 of their last 10. They're going on the road again this week to play Cincinnati, 22-15 in the traveling Grays. And thankfully, we won't have to see those blue and new uniforms that they wear at home occasionally. So I'm all on board with that. You know what? If they can win this series this weekend, then they're going to play Toronto at home and San Diego at home. And it sounds like, that could be a winning homestand. So I think Boston is just potentially set up to be on a nice roll going into the All-Star break, it seems, Griffin. I like where they're at, and that pitching, if they hit, okay, they got everything else to do well.
Doug, I couldn't agree with you more, man. I mean, this team is playing hot as all hell right now. They're 40-35 on the season. I feel like 2 weeks ago, this team was like 10 games under 500. Now, all of a sudden, they're scorching. 8-2 in their last 10 games. 22-15 on the road. And as you mentioned, they have a 3-game set against Cincinnati in Cincinnati. That is most definitely an opportunity to capitalize 2 of 3 games. They have 3 games at home against Toronto to follow that up, and then 3 games at home against San Diego to follow that up. All 3 of these series are all winnable series that most definitely can keep this team in the wild card race, let alone the division race. Well, I will say you got a couple other teams in there that are absolutely outstanding. I mean, this is the best division in baseball. I mean, let's call it what it is. This is the best division. But right now, for me, this Red Sox team, they are a bet-on team for me right now. They're dominating right now when it comes to day games. They're 16-10. That is something definitely to look out for. When the Red Sox are playing day games, that is when they play their best baseball. And regardless whether they are home, away, day games, or night games, this team is hitting 250 as a team or better. So it does not matter the circumstances. This team is pitching well. They're hitting well. They're playing great defense. They are doing everything asked for them right now. I can't say anything negative about this Boston Red Sox team right now, Doug.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Okay, so we're going to move ahead into the next one. And Griffin, let them know who you got.
Yeah, man. So I've got the Rays here, and obviously they're rolling into Pittsburgh. And the Rays, in my eyes, everybody knows me. I'm in the financial markets. I'm a trader. They're in a consolidation mode in my eyes. This is where a team is stuck between support and resistance. There's a high and a low. And right now, they just keep seeming to trend inside of that box. They're not breaking out to the offspring, but yet they're not dropping straight down. In April, they opened up going 12-15. Then in May, they went higher, 14-13. Right now in June, they're 8-9. So they're right at that median. The problem for this team right now is they cannot hit right-handed pitching. And the majority of the MLB, you're going to see right-handed pitching. They're hitting a 226 team average against righties, but they drill lefties. So always look for this team on the spark when they're playing left-handed pitching because they're hitting 252 as a team against lefties. Unfortunately, in this 3-game set against Pittsburgh, they're facing all right-handed pitching. So they did just finish up a very tough road stand against Atlanta and in Minnesota. They won one of the 2 series. They play their best baseball on the road. That's definitely something to keep in mind. They're not playing that good at home this season. And last year, that home field advantage is what carried this team all season long to be one of the best teams in baseball. I believe at one point they were like 42-18 at home last season. That could be a little bit over what they actually were, but they were dominant at home. And that's the separation of what they're doing now versus last season. They're not dominating at home. Yep. The upcoming series is going to be tough for them. Their best chance is going to be winning tonight's game. And that's against a young kid in Carmen M. I can't say his last name, but he's young. He doesn't have a lot of experience. He has a high ERA, and the Rays, again, they play their best baseball on the road, and they're in Pittsburgh tonight. So for the Rays right now, the way that I am breaking this team down and the way that I will be scouting them for the next 6 to 9 games, I will be looking at underplays. When they are versing teams that have right-handed pitchers on the mound, and their star pitchers will be out, I will be looking to drill them on totals and unders. That will be my definition of what I'm looking at with the Rays right now, Doug.
Excellent perspective on that, Griffin. Now this is going to be a dead giveaway. I'll ask you and everybody, and all the listeners as well. All right. So right now, the 3 worst teams in the American League for run differential are the White Sox, Oakland, and the LA Angels.
Yeah.
Guess who's number 4? Okay, Tampa Bay. I mean, they're the fourth worst team. And, this is why it, to me, makes them very untrustworthy. And it's hard to play them in part either as a favorite or as an underdog, okay? Because you literally don't know what you're going to get. This is further complicated by the fact, and this is why their run differential is minus 70 right now at this point of the season, is that they've had a tremendous, I shouldn't say tremendous, they've had a lot of luck, okay, in winning one-run games. Now, there's sometimes on certain teams, like usually the best teams of the season, they win a large majority of their one-run games. And that's just because they're just a better team, and it's kind of like their year. But this team is 15-6 on one-run games, and they're still below 500. So that to me is a real problem. You look at their runs scored and runs allowed on the season, they're 26th in both categories. Okay. That is not a formula for winning baseball. One thing I was curious enough just to look where their minor league prospects are. Okay. And their top prospects as of right now, they rank number 6th in baseball, but nobody's really ready to come up. Okay, so that I don't see any help in the minor leagues to, let's just say, give this team a bump to get over 500 and maybe get in wild card contention. But now, so I mean, Griffin's points were all excellent, and in terms of who to play in with this, I'm just less trustworthy of them at this point. So I'm just going to stay away from this club. All right, so we're gonna jump ahead to the New York Yankees. Okay, technically. And because this is how I think, technically the Yankees are in first place. If you look at your computer screen or on your phone, and you'll see them in first place. But actually in the loss column, because of their defeat last night, or I should say thumping, they're actually behind Baltimore in the loss column. And that matters. That's always mattered to me because everybody's going to play 162 games. Okay. So it doesn't matter anything else. So the Yankees, they've lost four out of 6. Teams are going to downs. Okay, no matter how good they are, they're going to have some problems. But in those 4 losses, they've given up 8, 9, 7, and 17 runs. Okay, that's a problem. The starting pitching has not been as good of late, and with more work, the bullpen has suffered. The bullpen in the last 2 weeks, so 2 weeks ago when we did this show, I happened to look this up, and for whatever reason I remember it, they had the 3rd best bullpen. After what's gone on the last 2 weeks, especially this week with the 4 losses, they are 10th now. That's a huge drop. Now, the offense can still be potent, okay, and this is still a dominant team potentially literally every game. They're 26-7 in games decided by 4 or more runs. I'm really interested, Griffin, to see, and we saw part of it already today, what the odds are going to be on the Yankees this entire series against Atlanta. Yeah. Are the odds makers? I mean, they haven't really bloated the Yankees all year, despite their record. I mean, I go back to, years ago, like even in the 90s with Jeter and all those guys. I mean, every line was 30 cents high, at least. Okay, it was continual. And I mean, they opened this game today with Chris Sale pitching for Atlanta. They opened as an underdog. Now, I saw maybe 40 minutes ago, they were a slight favorite. So I think that's a real telling sign. But I will say for this game, I'm going to take the Yankees against Chris Sale, because among the things with Chris Sale, even though he's having a really great comeback season, the last 4 times he's pitched in the Yankee Stadium, his ERA is over 7. So tonight, give me the Yankees for a free play here. What say you, Griffin?
I like it, Doug. I'm similar on this aspect, but I'm on the same page as you. This is a game where I'm definitely going to back off in scope of, but you've got to look at this Yankees team. And I mean, when you look at it position versus position player, this is the all-around best team in baseball. And I mean, there's really nothing you can argue here. You have Judge, you have Soto, you have Velope, you have Stanton, you have Verdugo, Torres. I mean, the list goes on and on. Killshot, Rizzo, out. I busted up his forearm. I believe I saw 60-day DL. Yep. Not good for this team whatsoever. But when you want to look at the power of this lineup, it's absolutely incredible. The offense is outstanding. Their pitching is currently 1st in baseball when it comes to runs against. On the defensive side, not pitching alone, defensive side, runs against, averaging just 3.6 runs per game. The team's doing incredible during night games. absolutely dominant. 35-17. Day games, 16-9. On the road, they play better than they do at home. They're 28-14 on the road, and they're 23-12 at home. They have one weakness as a team, and that's just one only, and that is hitting left-handed pitching. They hit just 237 as a team against left-handed pitching. But during night games, opponents are hitting just 212 against them. So their pitching has been absolutely dominant. Day games, 234 opponents are hitting, and that is the best batting average throughout the road, home, away, day, night, whatever it is. 234 is the best batting average that any opponent is hitting against this pitching staff. So that is dynamic. This Yankees team is a bet on team for me right now. But in this series, I do not like betting power versus power, and that is exactly what we're looking at here. You've got Sale on the bump. You've got Rodon on the bump. You've got an explosive offense with the Atlanta Braves. You've got an explosive offense with the New York Yankees. So for this one, Doug, I am going to be laying off. But the Yankees, this is a team where you want to look for them, scout them out. Night games, left-handed pitchers against. That is where you look to drill this Yankees team on a run line play because they are absolutely dominant in that sensation, Doug.
Good stuff. All right. What's your next team, Griffin?
We can jump right into who do you want to roll with? Whoever. I can roll with the Orioles.
Your choice. It's your turn. You roll.
Let's do the Orioles, the other most dominant team in baseball, my man. I'll rip it right up. They absolutely dominate on the road with a record of 24-11 on the season. This is the most consistent team you are going to find in baseball, hands down. They are doing it in and out all season long. 7-3 in their last 10 games on another 2-game winning streak. They just scorched the Phillies. They just scorched the Yankees. They have arguably the best pitching staff in baseball, and the majority of their starters are hurt right now. You've got Corbin Burns absolutely dishing it. You've got Grayson Rodriguez, who is so underrated. He is absolutely dishing it. Kramer's hurt right now. This guy's another absolute stud. Kyle Bradish, another absolute stud who will be back. And John Means, another stud who will be back. They have 3 starters who are rated, I would consider, top 15 pitchers in the MLB. 3 of them right now are hurt. Not even in the lineup. This team is still playing the way they are playing, which is best team in all of baseball in my eyes. Obviously, between them, the Yankees, everybody we're going through right now. But going even deeper right now, they're leading baseball in offensive runs per game. They're leading on the defensive side on runs against. Again, a dominant 24-11 on the road, plus at home 25-14. The team does everything right consistently. Day games, 24-12. Night games, 25-13. Hitting 260, remember this, against left-handed pitching. So they drill left-handed pitching, and they play very good during night games. Another thing to keep your eyes out for. They're hitting 250 against right-handed pitching. And my free play for tonight is drilling the Baltimore Orioles run line over the Houston Astros at a -105 line. As nobody realizes how good Grayson Rodriguez is, this guy tosses from the right side, absolutely stout. He shells. He's got nasty stuff. I believe he's 8-2 on the season with under a 3.0 ERA. And again, he's backed up by the #1 offense in all of baseball on a metric standpoint, Doug.
Yeah, I mean that. This what's so interesting is that they brought in new people into the front office. The father stepped aside, okay, as the owner. The son took over. He just was willing to build an organization, which hadn't been done literally for decades. Okay, right. I mean they had a couple of runs of 2 or 3 years here and there, but there was nothing going on. And I know you're not going to want to hear this exactly, but there is a correlation of something. So what this team really reminds me of at this stage for them, remind me a lot of the Chicago Cubs in 2014. Okay. When all those young guys came up, okay, they were just in the process of building something, which culminated in a championship 2 years later. And what I really mean by this is that because I live in the Phoenix area, I get to go to a lot of spring training games. And so I make it a point every year to try to see every team. And the thing that struck me when I saw the Cubs as they were coming up, all of a sudden they went from a team of a bunch of guys that were 6'1", 6 feet, okay, to a bunch of guys that were 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and they were athletic. They could all run. I mean, literally, you could. I mean, if I hate to say a trained eye, but I scouted plenty of baseball stuff in my life, and there was just something different physically how they handle themselves. And even though Baltimore plays in Florida for spring training, when you watch their guys, okay, it's the same thing. They're all young. They all can run. They can steal bases. They go first to third all the time. They're excellent in the field. And many of them are really, really good hitters. So I like this team. They've won in their last 9 series. They're 7-1-1. I don't think Houston stops them this week. And I don't think even a team as good as Cleveland is going to stop them either next week when Baltimore goes back home. So I'm with you. Orioles rolling, and I'm going to roll with the Orioles also on this one. All right.
I hear
one
you.
more team to go, and boy, we saved the worst for last.
Yes, we did. We did.
Okay, so we got the Toronto Blue Jays. So Blue Jays are kind of in an interesting situation right now, and this goes back to how baseball used to be, which was in terms of scheduling. So the Blue Jays just played at home, Cleveland and Boston. Okay, so what are the next 3 games? Against on the road, Cleveland and Boston. Okay, yeah. So that's just a rare. That used to be a common thing in baseball, but it no longer is. But boy, this team, their batting, their runs scored 3.9 runs per game. They gave out 4.4. That means they're being outscored by a half a run per game on average. Besides the lack of offense, that bullpen is a 5-alarm fire. Okay, just night after night after night. 26th in run prevention. For wagering purposes, you definitely want to play against the Blue Jays as underdogs. This season, 5-19. Okay, they are not getting it done, and then roll the dog. So there's my answer. The Blue Jays, play against them. Griffin, not a lot to say here, but I'll let you finish it up.
Doug, I mean, you talked about this 3-4 shows ago. Yeah. You mentioned, you said this team has all the star power to be legit. They have everything that a team needs to be a good foundation, a winning franchise. And they just can't turn it around. They just can't put it together. Now you've got Bichette out. That's one of your best players. Yep. Vladdy and Bo are your 1-2 guys. You need them. The team's not getting it together. Now, again, they've got to deal with Cleveland for a 3-game set. They just got swept by Boston. Then they have to go and deal with Boston again after this, followed with that by the Yankees before finally coming home. Toronto, in my eyes, Doug, they are a bet-off club for me. They're not getting the job done. Pitching is brutally inconsistent. Their offense is inconsistent as all hell. It's either fire or brutal. They either score 10 runs or they don't score, period. Their brutal record during night games with a record of 17-23 and hitting a team total 225 batting average. They're pitching 16th in the MLB when it comes to runs against, which is awful. They're 8-10 in the month of June, hitting 230 as a club. And I will be going against Toronto for the next 3 series they have because they have no consistency. I will be attacking them on the road, and I will be attacking them during night games in specific. Doug, I have nothing else to say about this Toronto Blue Jays team other than the fact that they are just inconsistent as all heck, and we have to stay away from them. They're not a bet-on team. That's where I'm at with them, Doug.
I couldn't agree more. It's just like I say, unless they're underdogs, have at it. Okay. From that standpoint. All right. So now we're going to get into some free plays, which I know you're all waiting to have. So we're going to start with prop bets. And so Griffin is going to go first and light it up and see if he can stay hot with these prop bets on the show.
Let's do it, man. You know, everybody knows me, and I love my first inning game props when I'm coming back with another one. And it's going to be between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Cleveland Guardians. So for the Guardians, Carlos Carrasco gets the start. He has a massive liability in my eyes with a 5.80 ERA this season. Carrasco in his career has faced Toronto 10 times. He's got 54 innings of work with a 5.06 ERA and 31 runs allowed. So keep that in mind. Toronto, as we mentioned, they're inconsistent, but they have the star power to score runs in the first inning, especially with Vladimir Guerrero up there in that 1-2-3 spot. He is always somebody, a liability or somebody, a factor that could hit the long ball and really bust that first inning up. And now for Toronto, they've got Rodriguez on the start. He's a youngster, rookie. This is it. In his last 2 outings, he's allowed 6 runs and 7.2 innings of work. I will be drilling the Yurfee in this matchup in plus value. Yurfee at a plus 110 line is my free play to you guys between the Cleveland Guardians and the Toronto Blue Jays. Doug, what do you got rolling, brother?
Oh boy, we're going to go to the AL or the AL Central, and we're going to look at Detroit, and specifically we're going to look at Jack Flaherty. Okay, the tonight's starter. Flaherty is 4-4, the 3.01 ERA, and he has displayed really pinpoint control this season.
Sure.
He's racked up 100 strikeouts in 13 starts, but only 11 walks, so less than 1 walk per start. Now, he's not allowed a run in his previous 3 outings, which cover 16 2/3 innings. And in his last 8 outings, he's only given up 3 or fewer runs. So he has just been outstanding. Now, he did have a streak of 6 straight starts in which he surpassed the total on outs tonight of 17.5. He came up short in his last 2, but he gets a pass on that because in the first of those 2, he strained his back, okay, and they pulled him after 5 innings. Mm-hmm. In his last start, and by the way, he'd given up, as I said, no runs. In his last start, then he comes back. He again gives up no runs for 5 innings and only throws 73 pitches, but they yanked him again after 5 just as a precautionary measure. Sure. I get it, okay? You got somebody who's pitching that well. You want to keep him pitching. So in this one, they're playing, Griffin, I'm sad to say, they're playing the White Sox.
I'm here now, too, man. I got to really wear it. I'm in Chicago.
But I think Flaherty goes 6 strong innings, goes over the 17.5 outs on this one, unless the baseball gods intercede, which happens often, okay? But I just don't think that's going to happen tonight with the White Sox because we know how their offense has been this season. So I'm going Jack Flaherty, Tigers, over 17.5 outs. Griffin, let's talk some series baseball, and you can lead this one off too.
Absolutely, man. And I'm going to keep sticking with this Baltimore Orioles team, man. I've got them to win the series at a minus 135 on the road. As mentioned, they just smacked up the Philadelphia Phillies and the New York Yankees, 2 of the top teams in baseball. This is the most consistent team in baseball. They're playing in, game out. They're playing better than anybody. And tonight, you've got Grayson Rodriguez who gets the start. I believe he will take them to that 1-0 start, as I already gave you guys my free play best bet for them tonight on the run line at a minus 105. Grayson Rodriguez is outstanding. He's backed up by the best hitting team ranked metrically in baseball. Houston, on the other hand, they're playing completely inconsistent baseball. They play better baseball on the road than they do at home. This game is in Houston. So again, take the Baltimore Orioles to win the series at a minus 135 line. That is my play, Doug.
I like it. I'm going to go a little to the National League where we got a rematch from the postseason. Okay. Arizona is playing Philadelphia. Arizona has won 3 straight series, playing solid baseball, better pretty much than they have all year. Yeah. Phillies, on the other hand, have lost 4 of their last 6. But here's the thing. The line is 175, which I think is a pretty decent number, all things considered, okay, on this one. It's lower, and I think because of how the Philly, by let's say how each team is currently playing. Phillies, though, you know what? Got some revenge on their mind, okay? They got smoked in the playoffs by Arizona. I don't think they have forgotten that. And so with that in mind, I think that's going to give them a lot of juice in this one. Again, I just like, the Diamondbacks last year, they just got hot in October, okay? And it carried into the World Series for them. So now tonight we got Jordan Montgomery against Taijuan Walker. I don't think there's much difference here in this game. So I think it could go either way. Middle game, though, we got Tommy Henry against Zach Wheeler. And Wheeler is coming off the worst start of the season, which he gave up 8 runs against the team that Griffin's talking about, Baltimore. So I think he's going to be ready to go tonight. And this one, I actually like the Phillies on the run line on Saturday. In the series finale, we're going to go, we got the D-backs with Slade Ciccione.
That's a tough one.
it's not easy, especially for me. He tossed 6 scoreless innings this last week against Washington, so that was impressive. But even with that, his ERA is 5.90. Okay, so he's facing a Phillies team that is 29-11 coming into the series, 31-13 against right-handed starters, and I think they're going to rough up the Sladester in this one. I think he's going to have a bit of a rough time. Now, Christopher Sanchez, that's who it was, is expected to be the starting pitcher, and I think he's more than capable of limiting the Arizona offense because he's got a 1.84 ERA at home this season. So give me Philly minus 175 in this game or this series over the weekend. All right, Griffin, let's talk what's going on with Griffin Murphy Sports right now and what you got going this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, Doug. So I am on an absolute tear when it comes to baseball. I'm going to call it how it is. I always tell you guys when I'm doing bad. I tell you when I'm doing good. Yesterday, I did drop a WNBA 7-unit best bet as well as a soccer top pick. So I'm not happy about that by any means. But in baseball, I am currently 15-3 in my last 18 cards for a profit of $8,645 per $100 player. So I am absolutely steamrolling right now when it comes to baseball. I have a 3-pack today that goes out. They're all plus value plays, including alternative run lines. And what an alternative run line means is when you have an underdog team, say a team is already on the money line getting a plus 120 value, you could flip that run line and make them win by 1.5 runs, and you can turn your risk to reward to them being a plus 200, plus 300 line. Yesterday, I did it with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I turned them into an alternative run line. They were a 4-unit plus 200 play. They ended up winning 5-2. So I have 3 of those going out tonight, alternative run lines. So we are red hot in baseball. 15-3 my last 18 cards, 21-27 over the long term in my months scope of baseball. MLB game props smacked a 7-unit best bet yesterday, and that was with the Dodgers. Yurfee first run, runs first inning, 16-8 on plays graded 6.0 and better. Soccer hitting 63% on the season. As I mentioned, I dropped my top pick yesterday. So today, coming back light, I have a 4-unit and a 3-unit 2-pack. WNBA, I have a 2-pack as well. As I mentioned, dropped my top play with that yesterday. Not happy about it. So we're going to get that profit back and get steam rolling again. NBA closed out the season 8-4 on a playoff run. And in NHL, I am currently on a 7-1 postseason run for $2,620 profit. So we are rolling across all sports right now. Yesterday was a little bit of a setback, although we did capitalize on the baseball side of things. Looking to get things going here on the premiums, looking to get things going here on the Triple Play show. We are locked in and ready to go, Doug. How about yourself, my man?
Yes, well, in baseball, my numbers aren't quite as good, but I'm happy with where it is, and I think my customers are too, at 33-20 in recent baseball plays.
Phenomenal.
So we'll just look to continue that. As always with me, I had the Twins yesterday, and of course they come back to tie the game, and then they lose an extra inning, so I lose it twice. Okay, you have to love those games, especially. No, so that's just part of the deal there. But I'm coming back with a 6-unit best bet today, part of a 2-play package that is just $30 for both plays. Okay, that's going tonight, Friday night. You can pick that up. The NHL, I'm going tonight. Got a small play on Game 6, but I got a side that I definitely like on that one. Yes, I was disappointed by had the game of the year the other night. That didn't work out as I'm still baffled, Griffin. How a team can be in position to win the Stanley Cup and they don't come to play for almost a period and a half. But you know what? It happens. Okay. So you just have to deal with it. Never thought it would have, but it did. We move ahead. So yeah, so I got a play going tonight, 7-2 run in the playoffs going right now. And then I know Griffin could care less about this, but I do CFL. Okay. And I'm actually good at CFL.
For now, I could care less. Yeah.
But no, so Canadian League, I last year had a super year, up a little over $1,700. So that was a winning season. This year, I've had some tough luck. I'm not gonna, I've lost 2 games. Both of the losses were in the last minute. One was a pure backdoor. The other one is just the team scored late, okay, in the game. don't know what to say about that. I mean, those things are going to happen. But I guess I wish I could. If I wasn't myself and I was like handicappers at maybe at some other sites, I'd say I guarantee you I win tonight. Well, I'm not going to guarantee you that, but I'm very confident I'm not going to get backdoored. Let's put it that way tonight. So I got a CFL play going for week 3 tonight, and I'm looking at actually the game of week tomorrow. But we'll see what the outcome of tonight first, and then we'll move ahead from there. So we've got some other great things going here. All right. Now the thing you've been waiting for. Let's get to best bets. Griffin, you lead it off.
I will absolutely do so, Doug. And, we always want to be transparent here and give you guys our absolute best bet. And going through the Friday night slate, I have to give you guys the Baltimore Orioles again. I know I've given you already 2 free picks on them, a series prediction, and tonight's best bet, and tonight's free play. This is my best bet. As I mentioned over and over again, this team is playing better than anybody. They just smacked Philly. They just smacked New York. They're leading the league in runs scored per game. They've got Grayson Rodriguez on the bump. I can go on and on and on about this team. And we could talk about how bad Houston plays at home, their inconsistency on the offensive side, on the pitching rotation, everything in general. It all piles up. And my best bet is, once again, Doug, going with the Baltimore Orioles run line at a -105 line tonight.
There we go. There you have it. Well, you might have noticed I'm wearing a red shirt today, and I'm wearing it for a very specific reason. Tonight, the Boston Red Sox are playing the Cincinnati Reds, and that is my best bet tonight. All right. So looking at this one, you've got, I think, an underrated pitching matchup. Cutter Crawford, 3-6, 3.54 ERAs going up against Andrew Abbott for the Reds, 5-6, 3.42. Each starter has pitched better than the record. They just haven't gotten a lot of run support in various games that would have improved the record. Now, in this one, Abbott is an absolute under machine. 10-3 so far this season on the under. 5-0 at Great American Ballpark, which in truth seems like a hard thing to do based on the power alleys of that stadium. And this fits nicely where the Reds are just in general. They're 10-1 under in their last 11, 9-2 under at their ballpark most recently. Now, it is true, as I mentioned already, the Red Sox offense has been just sparkling with 6.6 runs per game in their last 8, and they've won 7 of those. But here's the thing. Boston is 21-8 under facing American League teams that have an on-base percentage, National League teams that have an on-base percentage of 315 or lower. Crawford on the road this year, 2.68 ERA. He's been tough. And Cincinnati is 13-3 under against an American League pitcher who has an ERA of 3.70 or lower. I'm going under the 9 with the Red Sox and the Reds tonight.
Love it.
There we go. So there you have it. So, hey, thank you for everybody for watching Griffin and myself. Once again, I think you can feel it. We're having a lot of fun doing this.
Absolutely.
And so with that's the case. So we're looking to, have a big weekend just like you are and make you a lot of money with these free picks and any of our selections that you might want to purchase as well. So looking forward to that. And next week, we are going to be back talking about the surprising American League Central, I guess I should say, and how well they're doing. So we'll be back with that and with loads more free picks and lots of information for you. So for Griffin Murphy, this is Doug Upstone for Doc Sports. We will see you next week. Good luck all weekend long.